Welcome to Allies or Enemies. I'm Jess.
And I am Shawn, and today we are looking at some of the games that one of us is better at than the other one, and we're remarkably even. We keep track of all of our game plays in board game stats, and we're like 0.8% off for being like perfectly 50-50. But there are some huge outliers in that.
And some of these I was expecting. Some of them I knew that you were better at. Some of them I was very aware that I tended to win more. But others were a bit of a surprise that it was only when we were looking at the stats that we realized that one of us was stronger than the other.
And a lot stronger. So we're only looking at games where it's like 90-ish% win percentage in these games, where one of us is either, if you look at it glass half full or glass half empty, one of us is either very good or one of us is very bad at some of these games. And I think it's both in different times.
Yeah, sometimes it is definitely more one than the other. So let's get to our first one.
So our first one is Dobble, and Dobble is an incredibly simple game. All you're doing in Dobble is you've got like a little circly card down, and it's got like 10 pictures or whatever it is. You flip another card, and it's got one of those same pictures, and every single time it's always got one of those same pictures. It's this like amazing like magic of math kind of games. But it's really just super fast hand-eye coordination, because whoever points it out first wins. And I am shockingly good at this, which is weird because I am shockingly worse than Jess at hand-eye coordination in every other context.
Yeah, when we started playing it, I think I won maybe the very first game and then haven't won since. And we do the game, the slapping game thing that you have never won.
I am shockingly bad at this. And this I'm going to try with all my trying to not get slapped here.
Oh, pressure's on. Okay.
All right. Ow! Ow! That's so hard. I am trying so hard. That one wasn't hard, at least. Oh! Yeah, this is how bad I am at it. But somehow, so good at Dobble.
Yeah, and I expected to be way better at, but because you don't like your hands getting slapped, we only play it on BGA, so maybe there's something about that.
It is true. I will only play it. I'll only play it virtually. It's too intense. The physical one on the table and the table and the hands. No thanks. I don't need any broken fingers in my life.
The next one is one that I'm better at. I think in this case I've won every game.
100% of like 12 games too. It's like a large-ish sample size.
But the game's Fields of Arle, and so it's a two-player specific Uwe Rosenberg farming type game, and we both really enjoy it. And the key is really trying to try lots of different strategies, and the different buildings that come out each time can make a really big difference. So maximizing your play to those buildings can pay off big. But every single game, Shawn decides to just solely focus on cow breeding.
Yes. So what I do in this game, and I would suggest this to anyone, is get cows and then just keep getting cows. There's no way you can lose, except that I always lose. And it's funny too, because the last few times I'm like, all right, I'm not even gonna get any cows, because I know I start getting those cows and I'm just gonna keep on getting them. And then we get a few turns in, I'm like, well, I got a few cows now. You know, I may as well just get a bunch of cows. We'll see how it works out this time. And the trick is that in Fields of Arle, you don't get points for the animals you have the most of. You need to have even numbers of all of the kinds of animals. But I'm not as interested in the horses and the sheep as I am in the cows. And the cows help you because they get you free food. And so it's like, well, how can you lose? It turns out you can always lose.
Because you go big on cows, and yet we still end up with the same amount of points for our animals, because only the ones you have the least and the second least score.
This is true.
So we usually end up tied on that, and then I win every other category of points.
That is true, but I will say, in my defense, I have a lot of cows at the end of the game, so...
So I'm actually going to do one that you're better at because I'm going to give the real reason as to why you're better at it. And this game is Eclipse. And it's because he tends to cheat almost every single game. There is something that we don't know about until the very end when I take a look at his board and look closely at his ships and realize that he was totally cheating.
Okay, so there's a difference in cheating and just misunderstanding a rule. And I will admit, in Eclipse, a serial rule misunderstander, but not a cheater, I would say, unless you count not following the rules consistently as cheating, which perhaps one would.
And always in your favor.
It does seem to be. There are a lot of little rules in Eclipse. And it's always stuff like so you can get missiles or you can get like, I don't know, regular guns or lasers or whatever they are. And lasers you use every roll, and missiles you only use at the start of the game. And this is something I've just learned because I would get missiles and be like, well, these ones are just way better. Why don't people get these all the time? And then use them every roll. And Jess just learned that I've been doing that. So I think my stats are going to go way down. I just had no idea. I don't realize. And there's a bunch of things, how much electricity you have for, like energy you have for the different weapons and stuff, I regularly do forget about. So it's not so much cheating as just poor playing. I need adult supervision when we play Eclipse.
And there already is a lot for me to be looking after that I don't have the time to supervise. So we'll go head to head in a battle. And I'm already thinking about, okay, how many dice can I use? And which ones do I roll only once? Which ones do I roll multiple times? I just assume he's doing it correctly, and then find out later when I'm properly looking and thinking, wait, you can't roll that red dice again.
My record's good though, so
One that I'm better at that is surprising is Shakespeare, and that's one we recently picked up because we were on the lookout for a while. And we really wanted it because Shawn loves Shakespeare. We go to the Globe every summer. You've read every single play. And I was looking forward to it as well, but a lot of it was because of the love that you have for it too. And we've played it a handful of times, and I think I've won like every time.
I think all of them you've won. Yeah, like a real bully. Yeah, I love Shakespeare. But the game Shakespeare needs almost no Shakespeare knowledge. It's a great game. It's absolutely terrific. You're running a little mini theater thing and you've got cards out and it's kind of an action selection game and it's a really smart, really fun, interesting game that holds up and is a little bit of an older game and still plays just as well. Doesn't need a lot of knowledge about Shakespeare, and I kind of wish that it did because it would give me a leg up. What it needs is just a knowledge about how to play that kind of game well, and Jess is way better at that kind of game.
The trick is you just have to get the person that lets you get the gold sets and the gold costumes, and then you get so many points at the end. And so all the time you're getting all these different actors and you're getting all of these different, you're building a beautifully symmetric theater, and I'm just collecting all of the gold. And then at the end, I'm like, great, half my things are gold.
My problem is Jess will get the stagehands who can be really powerful, and I only want the characters because I'm so just like, who is in my favorite plays? Who's connected to the plays that I love? And which of these characters would I want in my theater? And wouldn't it be interesting if Viola and Richard III were in a play together? And Jess doesn't care about that. She's just like, oh, hey, this guy gets me gold. I'm going to get gold. Gold is points.
But we both like the game. You like it because of the theme, and I like it because I always win it.
It's a terrific game, even though I am the worst at it. One that it doesn't make sense that I'm good at this because on paper, this game should be randomness because it is just dice rolling, but it is strike. And we have played a lot of strike. We've played like 60, 70 games of strike, which I guess for strike isn't that many because you can play like 10 games in like 30 minutes. But I have won like 90% of our strike games, which proves that strike is not just random dice rolling. There's real strategy in strike, and the best player will usually win.
If you're not familiar with it, it really is dice rolling. It's an arena where you chuck dice in, and then if there's a match,
They're
you get to
gladiators. I will no, not dice.
you collect those gladiators. But if you run out of gladiators, then you lose. But you think the odds of being able to make a match are the same for everybody.
One would think.
I guess there is a little bit of kind of push your luck or knowing when to like. What's the equivalent of
when to hold them and when to fold them, and when to walk away.
Yeah.
And also when to run.
Yeah, and I guess you're better at that because you run for how many games we've played, the amount that you have won for a dice rolling game, and you hate dice rolling.
Yeah,
it's shocking.
I'm usually not a big fan of dice rolling, and Jess prefers randomness, but I think it's because you will push it. You're kind of in for a penny, in for a pound. Once you've started, you're not going to stop until you've got something out of that. And I'll throw two and just, no, I'm good. We'll see what happens next time. I am definitely willing to cut my losses.
I think that's it, is you usually throw one or two, and I kind of end up throwing five. So now it makes sense why you have more dice at the end.
The next one is one that Jess is better at than I am, and it honestly breaks my heart because I was excited about this game. I love this game. I love the older versions of this game. I love the computer game versions of this game, and I never get to win it, and that is Civilization: A New Dawn.
And I think part of it is I've never played the older version. And you said the older version, one of the challenges with it is that it would take a long time to play. So I think you maybe still have it in your head that that's still the case because you always really start setting a lot of things up and kind of get in it for the long run. Whereas it's just whoever completes like three goals.
3 of the 4 of the 5 or whatever it is, yeah.
Yeah, and so I just look at the goals and I gun for them. I don't do anything else. I am goal oriented and I go for it. And then usually you're kind of thinking these grand plans that would pay off big if we played for double the amount of time with only managing one goal by the end.
And I never understand this either because if we played it right now, 4 turns in, I'd be like, oh, I got this. Like, I almost feel bad how good I'm doing and how well I'm set up for the future. And then turn 5, Jess is like, oh yeah, I win.
It's not quite that quick.
Oh no. It's almost that quick. It happens all the time. You're exactly right. I set up and I'm like, oh, this is gonna be so good. I got all this stuff and we got the expansion. So I'm like, oh yeah, I'm exploring all these lands. Look at all my territory. It's gonna be great. And then she's just like, oh yeah, I just got another goal. And I haven't even started.
It is funny. It seems like you want it to be a longer game, but part of what makes this new edition good is that it is a shorter game.
Yeah, it is. It's a great game. I just got to get my head around that it's a shorter game, but this is one of those ones that I lose every time, and I still have fun even though I'm losing.
And that's Civilization: A New Dawn.
And that is it. That's a bunch of games that one of us is better at than the other one, and also a lesson in not holding pencils for a video. There was a lot of waving around, almost entirely on my part. That's a thing I'm better at, waving a pencil around like a fool.
I think the pencils help make it look more official, though, so maybe we'll stick with them for some of our videos.
I do not think I took even one note throughout that entire process.
But those are some of the games that one of us is better at than the other. Are there some games that you play with your gaming group or your partner that one of you tends to win? Is there a reason why? Do feel free to pop that in the comments. As usual, please like, subscribe, and hopefully we'll see you for the next one.